What can be said about the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy? One of the final cartoons, this show went on for a very long time, being a big staple of the network, and I gotta say, it holds up decently. This is a very, very hit-and-miss show. There are episodes like Keeper of the Reaper or Billy and Mandy Moon the Moon that are absolutely fantastic. But then there are ones like Grim or Gregory or Chaos Theory that are just kinda... As far as I can tell, the show doesn't have any terrible episodes, but the weakest I've seen are, that was pointless, or that wasn't very entertaining. But the best it gets is actually really clever and enjoyable. Keeper of the Reaper is one of the best episodes of anything ever. You can't change my mind. Though I think Billy and Mandy is hit and miss, I loved it as a kid. The art style, the gothic nature of the whole thing, the absurdist humor, and the characters. The characters are really lovable. Yeah, that's right, the characters are all lovable despite the fact they're terrible people. I think it's because the show acknowledges that they're terrible people, so it's not like they're trying to pass off criminals as saints or anything. And when the commercial for Billy and Mandy's Big Boogey Adventure, the movie, came out, little me was very excited and dropped all of his plans that night to go see it. And sure enough, once it premiered on Cartoon Network, I, along with many viewers my age, considered this the peak of the series thus far. And I thought it was gonna be the end of it. But it wasn't, the show kept going. And even to this day, it still baffles me. Big Boogey Adventure would have been the perfect finale to Billy and Mandy. Not saying I wanted it to end early or anything, but the way this thing came out makes it seem like the perfect end to a beloved show. All you have to do is look at the premise and you'll see exactly what I mean. This movie goes further than anything the show has done before, and expands on all the themes that Billy and Mandy has building up to this point. As we know, Grim is bound to Billy and Mandy forever, forced to be their best friend no matter how much he actually detests them. Beforehand, this was causing some minor inconveniences or wacky situations, but now it's directly interfering with his work. All of the people he's trying to hunt down seem to be getting away. He can't reap anymore because Billy and Mandy keep causing trouble. This ends up catching up to him when his arch nemesis, the Boogeyman, gets wind of this and sends him to court. Eventually, Grim is stripped of his title, rank, and powers, and is ordered to be disposed of, along with Billy, Mandy, and Irwin. Despite this predicament, there's a way out. In the underworld, there's this gauntlet called Horror's Hand. Whoever wears it is said to become the most powerful and scariest creature in history. The only thing is, this thing's gonna be impossible to get to. Billy, Mandy, Irwin, and Grim not only have to fight against the Boogeyman and his crew, but also the treacherous landscape and creatures of the underworld. Time is running out, and this is their only chance. Can they make things right before it's too late? What do you think? It's a kid's show. Big Boogey Adventure does what all finales are supposed to do. Take the biggest plot they could ever think of, and then act on it, going all out. If this is supposed to be the end, what's gonna stop you from shaking the whole fabric of the universe as we know it? For the first time, we get to see things like Irwin kissing Mandy, even if she is unconscious, Grim finally snapping at Billy and Mandy, accusing them of destroying his life, Boogeyman finally living up to his word and being a legitimate threat. All of these things are exactly what you're supposed to do when you're finishing the show. Of course, you know this isn't the end, but still the character development is nice. Sad that a lot of it didn't carry over when the show continued, but that's beside the point. Big Boogey Adventure also has appearances and cameos of beloved characters from the regular show. We get to see Hoss Delgado, the Judge, Dracula, Boogeyman, Fred Fredburger, that blue guy that's always stuck with Fred Fredburger, Billy's parents, the Secret Snake Club, Principal Good Vibes, and many more. Really, all that's missing is the Nurgle family, which, to be fair, there's no way to put them in this story. They don't fit. If you put them on jury duty, then they're obviously gonna try to rule in favor of Grim, Billy, and Mandy. And if you threw them into one of those offhand mentions like Billy's cat or Principal Good Vibes, it would seem kind of forced. Still, it is a little disappointing that we didn't get to see who is arguably the first main villain of the show, but that's one small issue. And when we see all these other characters that we've come to know and love, that's definitely worth it. This is also the most serious the show's ever taken itself, at least up to this point. Yeah, it's a comedy first and foremost, but there's a lot of serious situations here. Grim finally snaps at Billy and Mandy, like I said. Grim's upset and depressed throughout most of the movie. Everywhere the cast turns, there's constant fire, or monsters, or danger of some sort. There's a very high level of probability that they won't make it out alive. Just look at the horror's hand sequence. They have to fight off their biggest, darkest fears. Some of them are funny, sure, but the animation and scope on them really makes them look intimidating, even if they are kinda silly like a spider clown mailman. And just like every good finale is supposed to do, or in this case, pseudo-finale, it wraps the show up, leaving all doors closed for the future. What happens is, well, spoiler alert, Boogey ends up getting laughed into oblivion, having to go into hiding, realizing that nobody's afraid of him. He's pathetic, he's weak, and no matter how many zombies or ghouls he has on his side, nobody's ever gonna take him seriously. So he retreats, never to be seen again. Grim comes to terms with the fact that he's stuck with Billy and Mandy forever, and so does the law of the underworld. They give Grim his job back, but they don't free him from Billy and Mandy. He's willing to put up with them, even though he doesn't really like them. And everyone kinda gets what they want at the end. Billy has a big adventure with his friends, Erwin finally got to get to first base with Mandy, even if she didn't really approve. Mandy gets to keep her hold on everybody, and Grim gets his powers back, and a lot more leeway in the future. If the show ended here, I would see no issues. Everybody's arc got wrapped up. There doesn't need to be this big cataclysmic end where, say, Billy has to give up his life and then Grim goes free and Mandy takes over the world or something. It could just be a simple bookend like here. If the show stopped right at this point, I would consider it a completed story. We got to see a lot of references to old episodes, some old beloved characters returned, and the story concluded. Sadly though, Big Boogey Adventure was not the ending. Now don't get me wrong, there were a lot of episodes that came out after it that were really good. Still though, no matter how hard they try, they could not get a finale as suitable as Big Boogey Adventure. Wrath of the Spider Queen probably would have been their next best bet, but even then, it's a lot shorter and a lot smaller in scale than Big Boogey Adventure was, and it doesn't complete anybody's arc. In fact, it kind of ignores all the development that Big Boogey Adventure gave us. Then there's Underfist. Underfist may be a great movie, and may have actually been a pilot rather than a supposed finale, but that shouldn't have been the end. It opens up way more doors than it closes. And Billy and Mandy, technically speaking, isn't supposed to be a show that has a big, all-ending finale, but given the fact that they were so close to having it, it becomes noticeable that the actual finale that they have doesn't compare in the slightest. It was a real missed opportunity. And to all you Billy and Mandy fans out there, don't worry, I'm not saying that I wish the show ended early. I'm only saying that maybe, just maybe, they could have waited a little bit and acted on this when they were ready to end the show. That's just an idea. It reminds me a lot of that Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends episode, Destination Imagination. In fact, that has the same exact points as Big Boogey Adventure. It ups the scale, increases the peril, the characters go through a lot of transformation, and in the end it gives a suitable finale for the show. People grow, people learn, they get what they want, but not everything they want, and it's a serviceable finish to a beloved series. But then it not only continues, but everything after it seems to ignore all the changes in continuity set up in that special. And then the actual finale that we did get leaves a lot to be desired. Although the big difference here, as far as I can tell, was that Destination Imagination was supposed to be the finale to Foster's, but Big Boogey Adventure was not. It was simply supposed to be a standalone movie that aired on Cartoon Network one day, and then bam, on with more episodes. Which again is a real shame. I think it's sad to say that out of all the finales to Cartoon Network shows, one of the best ones wasn't actually a finale. For those who are gonna make shows out there, or for those who like analyzing shows, if you want to talk about a finale or make a good finale or anything like that, turn to Big Boogey Adventure. It may not be the actual finale, but it sure does the job well. Well folks, thanks for watching the video. What do you guys think of Billy and Mandy? And what'd you think of the movie? Do you think this should have been the end like I do? Comment below and let me know, because I'm always excited to hear what you guys have to say. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we talked about a cartoon this week, so next week, things are gonna get a little more real. No, not CN Real, that's kind of been done to death. But for the first time on Media Mementos, we're gonna be covering a reality show! Stop booing, it's happening. It's already in production.
Boo!